Good morning, what's up? Ryuji here. What I want to talk about today is the topic of listening. I'm out here, the wonderful Hollywood Hills. Very fortunate to be staying here at the moment for a few days. And the reason I want to talk about listening is because it's something that I've personally struggled with for a very, very long time. And what I mean by that is that for a long time, I would have conversations, and in those conversations, I wouldn't really listen to the person who's talking because I'd be so absorbed by what I have to say. I love talking, I can talk and talk and talk forever. And really, I think this is something that a lot of us struggle with, or at least I see a lot of people struggling with that. And, because here's the thing. Naturally, we as human beings, we just tend to care more about what the fuck we have to say than what our partner has to say in a conversation, right? And so what happens is that when you're having a conversation, you're talking, and when your conversation partner is saying their part of the conversation, generally what goes through your mind are things like, for example, what am I going to say? How does this relate to me? It's all about me. It's always focused on me. And that creates a situation where you're not really listening to that person. You're just like, you're kind of listening, but you're listening to figure out how it relates to you, what you have to say about that. And so you're not truly absorbing all that, letting that all sink in. And now, what I think is a better way to approach conversations is to really try to listen to what that person is saying without thinking about what I'm going to say next, without thinking, how does that relate to me? What do I think about this? Do I think this is right? So for example, if you think something's wrong, your brain tends to just shut off, right? But in life, it's important to realize that people have different perspectives, and we should all respect those different perspectives. So, when you really understand this, you can really start to listen. And now the other thing I'd add about this is that by listening, it actually benefits you. Listening is not just this altruistic thing, though I do think that you should listen just for the fuck of it because it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do, to listen to people who are talking to you, and everyone wants to be listened to, so why not offer that to people? Offer value the way you can. One way that you can offer massive value to people is by listening to what they have to say. Because just a lot of people don't feel fucking heard because people don't fucking listen. So, allow that space. Allow yourself to have that space where you're listening, where you're receiving. And now, the other thing I want to say about how this actually benefits you is that, look, if you're having a conversation and you're talking all of the time, well, it's kind of good, but from a learning perspective, let's look at this from a perspective of learning new things when you're having a conversation about something, not just shooting the shit, having fun, although that's really important too, to do that all the time. But if you're actually having a conversation with the aim of exchanging ideas and learning something new, in that case, what do you learn more from? Do you learn more from talking, or do you learn more from listening? The answer is, you learn more from listening. When you're talking, it's a good way to sort your ideas out, maybe like reiterate what remember all your pieces of knowledge and put them, structure them in a way that makes sense. It might be good to do that. But, ultimately, it's all stuff that you already know. It's all already in your brain. You can't talk about shit that you don't know about. You're not going to come up with new information off the top of your head that you didn't have before. At least in your subconscious somewhere. You might realize things as you're talking, but it's not like they were not somewhere in your brain already. But the cool thing about listening is that, when someone else is talking, now there's really an opportunity to learn because they might know something. Actually, they definitely know something that you don't. So why not take that opportunity to learn what that person has to say, to listen to what that person has to say so that you can have new knowledge, and it's a win-win situation because you get to learn and that person gets to be heard. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone just wants to be heard. So for you, if you realize that listening is the more beneficial thing for you to do, then it's a win-win. You're winning because you're learning. They're winning because they're being heard. And so, everyone's happy. It's awesome. In life, you always want to create win-win situations. You want to be collaborative. You want everyone to win. if you come from this space where, you know, you want to win and you want to take from others and you want others to lose, that's not a healthy space to come from. So always think, you know, like, how can I make this situation win-win? How can I make this conversation win-win? How can I make this relationship win-win? So that's about all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for checking this out. And by the way, the reason I want to talk about this today is because that's something, you know, I still struggle with this, because like I said at the beginning, I fucking love talking. I can talk forever if I want to. And, you know, sometimes it's very hard for me to listen. And also I feel like, you know, your reluctance to listening comes from, at least for me, it comes from this judgment where I'm judging the other person. I think what I have to say is better than what they have to say. And I think those kinds of judgmental frameworks are really important to get rid of, because they're not beneficial. It's never good to look down on other people. It's never good to like judge other people and judge what they have to say, especially before they said it. You know, like, oh, you know, for me, I know that that's true for me, where sometimes I would see someone, and because I don't think they're the type of person who have knowledge about a certain thing that we're talking about, I would tend to prejudge whatever they're going to say, and my mind would just shut off. I would just not listen, because I'm like, well, this person doesn't have anything good to say anyways. But that's not a good attitude. You just want to listen to people, because that's, you know, it's just the polite, nice fucking thing to do as a human being. When you're communicating with another human being, just listen. Just truly listen and try to figure out what they mean, and don't try to figure out what you think they mean, because, you know, it's easy to be like, I think you mean this, but it's like, what it really means is, I want you to mean this. No, instead, let's think about, what do you really mean? Can I understand this from your perspective, and really listen to what you have to say? So again, thank you so much for checking this out today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. But in any case, peace, much love. See you next time.